We continue moving right along here. We go into life insurance basics, which is going to be the next section here in the book. Now I want to make sure that you understand in the PDF part of the course here, you're going to need to print off the outline for your state, for your exam, that will tell you how many questions you're going to have from each one of these sections that we cover. The materials here are written to correspond to the various sections on the different outlines in the various states. So you'll be able to tell how many questions you're going to have from each section. Now, this is going to be the introduction section to life insurance. So a pretty broad bunch of material covered in the section. Usually quite a few questions come out of this section for the exam. So we're on page 23 here in the book, and we'll keep going right on here and start at the top with insurable interest. Remember, we reviewed this from the first section we covered, general insurance. For life insurance, you have to prove insurable interest at the time of application. And it's based on one of two things: blood or money. Immediate family, business reasons, partners buy life insurance on each other, mother, father buy life insurance on a child, company could buy life insurance on a key employee. So blood or money, I have to prove it at time of application, never again. And also remember, it's of major importance when you're buying life insurance on a third party. You do not need the consent, a parent does not need the consent to purchase life insurance on a child. Okay, so we can go down, third paragraph down, it says, both of the above are examples of third-party ownership. Well, third-party ownership is any situation when the owner and the insured are two separate entities, such as parent buys life insurance on a child. Three parties. We have the insurance company, the parent, and the child. Who's the insured? The child. Who's the owner? The parent. Who pays the premium? The parent. Who designates a beneficiary? The parent. Who has all ownership rights? The parent. Who triggers benefits? The child. So life insurance, whoever is the insured is going to be whose life is insured, who triggers benefits. Whoever the owner is has all the control over the policy. Okay, so we go on a little bit further down. Third paragraph from the bottom says, insurance is primarily regulated at the state level, which is why, depending on the state you live in, the exam is going to be different, the licensing procedures are different, and the state law portion of the exam is going to be different, which is why in the PDF portion of the exam, or of the course here, you're going to want to print off the law portion related to your state, because the laws in every state are different. Now we get to the bottom of the page on page 23, and it goes into variable products. So it kind of gets a little bit ahead of us here. So what we'll do is we'll take a little look up on the board. This is an introduction to the difference between fixed and variable products. Okay, so we'll do a little chart here. Over on the left side, we'll list things that relate to fixed products. Over on the right, we'll list things that relate to variable products. Okay, so first off, with a fixed life insurance product, in order to sell it, you only need your insurance license. Okay, so with this license you're getting, you can sell fixed products, fixed life insurance, fixed annuities. However, if you want to sell variable products, big difference is variable products, the money invested is directly invested into the stock market. So the premium you pay, portion of that premium is being directly invested in the stock market as an investment, and you're looking for a higher rate of return to keep pace with inflation. Okay, so fixed products are going to be safer, variable products are going to be more risky. So in order to sell variable products, you need both your insurance license and an NASD securities license, either a Series 6 or Series 7 and a Series 63 or 66. So, securities license, Series 6 or Series 7. They are NASD licenses. Now the NASD, as you'll see in the last paragraph in the book here, on this page, on page 23, stands for National Association of Securities Dealers. It's a self-regulatory organization, not a branch of the government, but a self-regulatory organization that regulates its members. So it regulates the broker-dealers and the registered reps. So if you obtain one of these licenses, they refer to you as a registered representative. Okay, now back over here. Fixed products. Guarantees, such as minimum interest on your money. It's kind of like you have a bank account, okay, or a CD, we'll say. You put money in the bank with a CD, and it says you will earn 4% for 1 year. That's guaranteed. You're never going to earn less than 4%. Same thing in fixed insurance products. They have a stated guaranteed minimum. You'll never earn less than that. Over here with variable life, no guarantees. None. So that means you buy a variable life policy or a variable annuity, you could lose all your money. You could, just like investing in the stock market. Now back over here with fixed products, they are funded by the insurance company's general account. Now over here with the variables, they are funded by the insurance company's separate account. So these terms are very important. General account, separate account. Fixed products are funded by the insurance company's general account where they're more safely invested. Variables, insurance companies invest in the separate account where they're looking for a higher rate of return. Now with fixed products are regulated at the state level. Okay, state level as insurance products. Variable products are considered to be securities. So they're regulated at the state and federally by the SEC. Now the SEC you will see is in the last paragraph on page 23. SEC stands for Securities and Exchange Commission, and this is part of the government. And the Securities and Exchange Commission is responsible for authorizing securities to be sold and also enforcing securities laws. So the Securities and Exchange Commission enforces securities laws. National Association of Securities Dealers regulates its members. Okay? Couple other things here related to fixed and variable. You just for sure need to remember this general account, separate account term. And then the last thing we'll talk about is investment risk. Now, in a fixed product, the investment risk is to the insurer. And that means, as I said, there's guarantees. So in a fixed product, when the insurance company guarantees 4% or 5% or whatever it is, if they earn less than that, they still have to pay that. So that's an investment risk to the insurance company. Now over here, in the variable life, the investment risk is to the insured. Why? What do we say up here? No guarantees, right? There's no guarantees. You could lose all your money. So the investment risk is definitely to the insured here. Now one other thing I'll mention here, if you're selling these things, the fixed products, you have to give out a prospectus at time of application, just like you would with any type of security. Okay? So that covers the basics on fixed versus variable. You will have a few questions on variable products, not a whole lot though, because remember this exam only by itself will allow you to sell fixed products. So last paragraph on the page, on page 23. Got to know Securities and Exchange Commission, enforce federal securities laws, and also National Association of Securities Dealers regulates their members. And the prospectus you see the last part of that paragraph. Okay, we go on to the top of page 24, personal uses of life insurance. Now there's a number of different uses for life insurance, so they list some of these things. Protection for survivors, accumulation of assets upon death, liquidity, estate conservation, and viatical settlements. Now, before we get any further there, creation of an estate. By definition, life insurance is a creation of an immediate liquid estate upon your death. You die, that money gets paid to whoever's listed as your beneficiary. They could take a cash payment. Okay, so by definition, life insurance creates an immediate estate upon your death. What else do we have in there? Viatical settlements. Okay, we need some explanation of viatical settlements. So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth paragraph down is kind of where they go more in detail into viatical settlements. Here's what a viatical settlement is. I sell my life insurance to an investor. So I sell my policy. So I transfer my ownership to the investor in return for money. Why would I do this? I'm terminally ill. Say I find out that I have HIV and I have no health insurance, but I have a cash value life insurance policy. So what I decide to do is sell my policy to an investor in return for cash right now, and I use that cash for my treatment for my HIV. When I die, that investor receives the death benefit. Remember, it's tax-free life insurance, tax-free death benefits. So you need to know by definition what a viatical settlement is. Also need to know when I enter into a viatical settlement, obviously I'm getting a lot less than the death benefit in the policy, because the difference between what I receive and what the death benefit is the investor's return on their investment. Okay, so they mentioned that. Then we go at center page 24, determining amounts of personal life insurance. two different ways we as agents can help the applicant determine how much life insurance they need. We have number one listed there, the human life value approach, and we have number two, the needs approach. Now, with the human life value approach, essentially what we're doing is we're taking the person's earnings and multiplying that by a certain number of years. Okay? That's the human life value approach. We're valuing their life based on their earnings. Now, the needs approach is much more comprehensive, and it will take into consideration outstanding debt, the survivor if you have children, how old the children are, the Social Security blackout period, where the kids want to go to college, how you want to be buried. You know, funerals are very expensive. Do you want to be cremated, or do you want to have be shot into outer space? Well, in the needs approach, that is taken into consideration. Expenses of the insured, though, while they're alive, self-maintenance expenses obviously aren't going to be a consideration, because when the insured dies, those end, right? Okay, now at the bottom of the page, on page 24, it talks about the Social Security blackout period, which is a period of time that, upon death of the insured, well, let's just give an example. Say I'm young, and I'm married, and I have a young child. If I die and I'm insured under Social Security, my spouse is eligible for survivor's benefits, and my child. However, once my youngest child reaches age 18, those survivor's benefits stop until my surviving spouse reaches retirement age and is eligible for retirement benefits under Social Security. So they refer to that period of time from when the youngest child reaches age 18 until the parent reaches retirement age as the blackout period, because there's no benefits in that period of time. And obviously that needs to be taken into consideration when determining benefits in the policy. So we go ahead to the next page on page 25. And we have at the top of the page, business uses of life insurance. All right, so we kind of alluded to this a little bit, but we kind of really get into it here. We talked about various personal uses. Well, now we get into business uses. All right, so the first one we have listed up there is called a buy and sell agreement. And here is essentially how a buy and sell agreement would work. Now, I want to mention here, a buy and sell agreement is not life insurance. Buy and sell agreement is not life insurance. So we have partners here. We have Ben and we have Jerry. Okay, and we'll say that they are 50-50 partners. And they're both married. And we will value their company at $100 million. Okay, so Ben and Jerry, they're best friends. They have been ever since they were little kids. And they started this company, and it's grown to be this huge corporation, and or grown to be a huge partnership, I should say. And everything's going great. However, there's a problem. Ben, his ownership, if he dies, will pass down here to his spouse, which is, all great, but Jerry would be stuck with Ben's wife if Ben died. Now here's the problem, though. Ben's wife hates Jerry. Okay? Ben's wife hates Jerry. So, if Ben was to die and his ownership was to pass to his wife, that would mean Ben's wife and Jerry would be 50-50 partners, which would be horrible for the business. And same thing over here. Jerry's wife hates Ben because Ben's wife hates Jerry. Okay, so this is a mutual feeling they have for each other. And it's set up same here where Jerry died, his ownership passes to his wife, and Ben would be 50-50 partner with Jerry's wife. Okay, so here's what they do. They sit down, they recognize this, and they have their attorney draft up what's called a buy-sell agreement. And the buy-sell agreement states this, and they all have to sign it. If Ben dies, his wife agrees to sell her interest to Jerry. Jerry agrees to buy it from her. Buy-sell. So the buy-sell agreement is the legal contract that forces this to occur. Okay, so they've got the buy-sell. They go back to work, think everything's great. Ben's out in their warehouse checking out they have these big, huge 1,000-gallon mixers for their ice cream. And he's looking over in there, and he falls in, and he gets mixed to death. Okay? So we have a new flavor here, I guess. Ben Bits, they call it, right? Well, that's horrible. Okay, Ben's dead. Well, Jerry's devastated. Ben's his best friend, his partner in the company. They've grown this thing from zero to now it's worth $100 million. So they all go to the funeral, and Ben's wife's up there, and Jerry comes up, and Ben's wife, she pulls out the buy-sell. Says, okay, I don't ever want to see you again, Jerry. It's your fault Ben died. You should have been out there supervising him. And so she says, I want my 50%, which is how much? $50 million. Jerry's required by law to buy this from her in the contract, right? How's he going to pay for it? Here's where you come in. You can fund a buy-sell agreement with life insurance. So we'll talk about a little bit later. There's a policy you can sell that covers two people that pays out when the first party dies. And it's called joint life. So you could sell Ben and Jerry a policy that would pay $50 million to the surviving partner when the first partner died. And so it would have paid out to Jerry. Jerry could have used that money to buy out Ben's wife. And then everybody would have been somewhat happy, even though Ben's gone. Okay, so buy-sell agreement is a legal contract. Now this is just an example in a partnership. It could be used in a corporation. For example, it's called a stock redemption plan. If a corporation has an agreement with an outstanding shareholder that if that shareholder dies, they will be able to repurchase back that outstanding stock that shareholder owned. It's called a stock redemption agreement. It's a type of buy-sell. But they're all can be funded with life insurance. So this is really where we tie in. So again, buy-sells that by themselves are not life insurance. Life insurance is used to help fund it. Okay, so we get the next one there, key person life insurance. Okay, so let's say, for example, that I ran a school that taught insurance and securities licensing classes, and I taught all the classes. And we'll say that my wife, she works in the office, she answers the phone and registers the students and sends out the materials and all that stuff. I teach all the classes. If I was to die, the company would be gone. So here's what my company does. Buys a life insurance policy on me. Beneficiary, company. I die, company can use the money to go out and find a person to do my job. So my wife's still there, money goes to the company. Company uses the money to rehire some more instructors and continue on with business. So key person life insurance. And a lot of times, if the key employee was to leave the company, a lot of times the company would just transfer ownership of that policy to that employee since they would no longer need it. It says in the last sentence in that paragraph, policy proceeds may be used to hire a new key person, hire temporary help, or train new employees. So there's the benefits of that. It says executive bonuses, 2 paragraphs down. Now, sometimes this is done where in a corporation, a person high up in management, hey, they could be the CEO, is given a bonus. And so that this person doesn't have to pay tax on it, the company actually uses it to pay premiums for a whole life insurance policy, for example. So the employee is the owner of the policy. However, the employer pays the premium for it, and the beneficiary would be the employee's spouse. And if the employee ever left the company, then they would just take that policy with them and go on. So that's where you would see an executive bonus used related to life insurance. Then we get to the bottom of page 25. We have classes of life insurance policies, and we've got 3 different classes. So we'll do a little chart up here to kind of help you see how the different types of life insurance classes lay out and the policies within. Okay, so we've got 3 classes. Number 1 is going to be group. Number 2 is going to be ordinary. And number 3 is going to be industrial. Okay, so we've got group life insurance. Well, everybody knows what group life insurance is. You generally see that. You go to work at a company, they might offer it to you. The employer provides a group plan for the employees. We'll talk more in detail about that a little bit later. Ordinary life insurance, there's actually 3 different types of ordinary life insurance. So we'll use these letter designations here to kind of go over them. We have number 1, whole life. Number 2, endowments. And number 3 is term. Okay, so those are our 3 types of ordinary life insurance. And then we have industrial, which is sometimes referred to as home service life. Now, when we talk about group and ordinary with the three different types, the next section we cover in the book really detailed on these concepts, so we'll kind of leave those till we get to that point. But industrial, we will jump ahead to. So we'll go ahead to page 26. Last paragraph on the page. Industrial home service life. Maybe one test question, maybe two, depending on the exam, on home service or industrial life. But this began being sold during the Industrial Revolution. So 1930s, 1940s, you saw face amounts, meaning death benefits in the policies, very low, $1,000, $100, depended on the policy. And they called it home service because the agents that sold them were actually referred to as debit agents, because they would go out to the person's house, usually every week, and collect a premium from the insured. So, last paragraph on the page, you have to know that term debit producers. You have to know small or low face amounts, $1,000. And also the grace period. And grace period, we'll talk again about later, but at this point here, just make a note, it's 28 days.